Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be showing some gameplay of King's Knight, another mobile game that's going to be hitting that comes straight out of the Final Fantasy 15 universe. Thank you Square Enix for providing me with an early copy of the game, or an early build I should say, so that I could put out this video and give you guys an idea of what's coming your way. So before we go any further, just want to let you guys know that this is not a representation of the final product. This is actually an early build that I was given in order to provide this gameplay footage to you. For that reason, you might see something like my character models aren't loading properly. Just again, that'll all work perfectly fine when the game fully launches on iOS and Android. I am playing this on a Samsung S6, but I have also played it on an iPad. I don't have footage from the iPad, but I have played it on an iPad. So I'll be using both of those experiences as part of my sort of gameplay review here. So King's Knight, what is King's Knight? Well, this version of King's Knight is published and developed by Square Enix, and it's actually a sequel to the 1986 release King's Knight. This is actually called King's Knight Wrath of the Dark Dragon, the sequel, the 30-year-old sequel to the original NES game. It's its 30-year anniversary this year in 2016. And not only is this the 30-year anniversary of the game, but this is going to be a mobile game that's available inside of Final Fantasy 15 as well. So even if you don't end up playing it on your phone, you may get the chance to try it out in Final Fantasy 15's universe. Whether or not it'll work exactly the same there, or if it'll connect online to the version we have on our phone, I don't know about that. But I know that you will be able to play it inside of Final Fantasy 15 at some point. So first up, when talking about King's Knight, it is a Square Enix published mobile game, and I myself have played a ton of Square Enix published mobile games, and it has a lot of the same systems that it's built on top of. You know, that stamina system, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but the stamina system in Square Enix games has always felt incredibly fair to me in all of their mobile titles, and that stays true here, and we'll talk about that later. It also has tiered currencies where you can earn them by completing the missions and meeting special objectives, or you can purchase them from the game app itself. Now the currency is spent on rolling on random weapons, on armor, heroes for your party, and then you can upgrade those things with items that you find out in the world. Again, a lot of this is stuff that is very familiar to anybody who plays a lot of Square Enix published titles. There's also going to be side missions and special events where you can get things like bonus characters, weapons, armor, etc., etc. We're not going to go into super detail about those systems because, like I said, they're super familiar to anybody who's played any of the other Square Enix published mobile titles. So keep all of those in mind. If you played any of them, you probably know how this game works. As for the gameplay itself, it's an auto-scrolling vertical shooter, and I like to look at it and think of the Toho series of games. It's a game series I haven't played in a while, but whenever I play a vertical shooter, I immediately relate it to that. The gameplay itself, really simple, like most mobile games are. You tap the screen to shoot projectiles, you drag your thumb across the screen to move your character. And there's also a few special things you can do, like if you quickly swipe on the screen, it'll cause your character to jump. You can use this to jump up on terrain or dodge projectiles. It's quite useful. And also you have special skills that if you press your finger on them and you swipe across the left-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to use those as well. They have self-buffs, they can debuff enemies, they can be AoE explosions around your character, direct line projectiles, a bunch of special abilities that you can utilize inside of each of the levels. And instead of making you pick just one character per level, you do have multiple party members, and they all have their own stats, level, armor, weapons, and skills, and you can switch them out in the middle of a level just by clicking them in your little party list in the top right hand of the screen. There's, of course, assist party members as well, which are in the form of random online profiles that you'll find that are around the same level range as you. And you can then follow them after you've had your experience with them if you really liked the character and how well it performed inside of your missions. You can follow that person, and then you can bring their assist character on your missions with you more frequently. So with a lot of the more systematic things out of the way and going over what the gameplay is like, I want to talk about my experiences with the game itself. First of all, like most mobile games should be, and like most of the Square Enix published mobile games, it's very easy to understand. It's even easier to understand if you've played other Square Enix mobile games and you understand how the stamina system works, how the rolling system works, how the upgrade systems work. It's a lot to take in if it's your first time experience a mobile game, or a Square Enix published mobile game, but it's something you should be able to pick up on fairly quick. There's plenty of tutorials that don't use super advanced text, very easy to read, very easy to understand text, in order to explain how the different systems work. On top of that, it has plenty of content. My favorite thing about these kind of games is that there's so much content that it warrants me not really spending money on the game for a very long time. I can go an entire day of playing the game straight, maybe stop and do a few real life things here and there, and I don't feel like, hey, I've played this game for an hour and now I'm getting nickel and dimed. I don't get that feeling. And it's something that actually, and another pro of the game, it almost makes me feel okay if I want to spend a few dollars on it here and there, because I'll play it for so long without spending any money, 8 to 10 hours, and all of a sudden it's like, well, you know, I don't feel bad spending $5 on this game. One of my favorite things about Square Enix mobile titles, and that stays true here in King's Knight. It's also, of course, going to have its frequent updates and events, again, something that I'm very familiar with when it comes to them, and it's just something that makes me okay with playing any of their mobile titles. I just love that King's Knight follows the same suit. Now, the gameplay itself is fun, but I do have some cons that I want to talk about when it comes to the gameplay, at least on my mobile phone. I found it a little hard to control on my phone. And to be honest, I'm not the most adept person at action games or MOBAs when it comes to playing them on a mobile device. But I had a hard time moving and jumping and shooting all on just my Samsung S6. Especially, you'll see during the gameplay, you very often just see me jumping. I'm not doing that on purpose. That's because I'm trying to make like a slight movement, and it's sort of registering as a swipe. So it's very difficult. It was very difficult, at least for me. There are probably some people who are way better at it than me, but it was personally difficult for me. That being said, like I said earlier, I did also play it on an iPad, and on the iPad, I did not have those troubles at all. So that would be my preferred device to play the game on, is an Android tablet or an iPad. On top of that, they do make those controllers out there that plug into mobile devices, and you can sort of use them to play them. I feel like a controller would be really, really good for this game, and which takes it back. You know, the NES game, the 1986 one, it was played on a controller, it wasn't played on a touchscreen. So I feel I would be really, really comfortable playing it on a controller. For that reason, I think within Final Fantasy 15 itself, the game is going to feel really good. I can't imagine it being done poorly inside of that game. I'm just curious as to how it's going to function as a game inside Final Fantasy 15. Is it going to link with our phone accounts? Is it going to have an online functionality? Because another big aspect of it that I didn't really get to touch on is that it does have online multiplayer. Up to 4 people can be on the same mission, as opposed to having those 4 party members that you're just playing the game with. Having the online multiplayer is another aspect that makes the game a little bit more interesting, something that you can get a little bit more longevity out of it, again, without spending a dime. Now, I wish I could bring you a full gameplay, like a 20-30 minute gameplay video of King's Knight, but unfortunately, without having the full build, I'd rather wait until I have a full build in order to show you the gameplay and how it plays over a 20-30 minute play time. I'm looking forward to when it comes out. I love checking out the new Square Enix published mobile games whenever they come out to see if they're worth my time. I've played all of the ones that have come out prior for at least a day's worth, and I'm looking forward to doing the same with King's Knight as well. I'm even more looking forward to playing it inside of Final Fantasy 15 itself. So tell me, what do you think about King's Knight? How do you think the gameplay looks? Is it a game you're going to be checking out on the mobile devices? Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and let me know what you think in the comment section of the video below. Again, thank you to Square Enix for providing me with this early build copy, as well as prelaunch.me, who has been working with Square Enix on a lot of these titles. I highly recommend you go pre-register for the game. You know how they always do those pre-register bonuses whenever it comes to Square Enix published mobile titles. I've had to say that exact thing so many times this video. And they're doing the same thing. So go to prelaunch.me. You can download it as an app on your phone. You can go to the website. I'll provide the website in the description of the video below, and pre-register for the game. Anyway, thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you next time. And until then, take care.